characters, incidents, names, and situations used in this story are fictitious. The resemblance to any person living or dead is purely coincidental. The following video contains some horror elements and suitable for a mature audience, 16 plus. This channel and video is not for kids. Hello friends, I am Arian, and welcome to our channel, Midnight Horror Stories, where you get to hear true and scary ghost stories. But before starting the story, all the friends who have come to this channel for the first time, please subscribe to the channel, and if you like the story, then definitely introduce yourself in the comment section. Then let's do not take much time and start our story quickly. Hello friends, my name is Sandeep and I am a resident of Delhi. The scary story that I am going to share with you today is about a very terrible and scary incident that happened in my life. But after that scary incident happened, I have got a lesson in my life, due to which maybe if you guys know that thing. In fact, there is a lot of craze for social media in today's time, due to which today's young people interact with friends on social media more than their friends living around them. This is the condition that if they talk to any person on social media for a month or two, then they blindly trust that person. I should say that only after 10 to 15 days of conversation, people start believing in the words of the person in front of them. Neither have they ever seen that person, nor have they yet known him so much, nor do they know about him what the background of that person is. Where is he from? The place about which he is telling his information, whether the information is correct or not, and only by listening to his words, we blindly trust that person, due to which we will have to believe in many such incidents in the future. After the formation of the situation, we have nothing left but to regret it. But sometimes some incidents happen that we do not even have a chance to regret, and some such mistake happened to me once when I faced such a scary accident in my life due to social media. After this, I have stopped using social media forever, and now I only talk to the friends who are around me because I have been cheated once, and also such that, in which I had to face my death. Anything could have happened to me on that day. Now what happened to me that I am telling you all these things with such a big stick, then when you listen to the story till the end, you will understand it very well. So I request you to end this story very carefully. And especially if a young girl or boy is listening to this story, then they must listen to this story completely, because in this story, along with a sense of fear for them, there is a lesson hidden in it, after listening to which they may be able to listen to their story. You can avoid any such danger in life. In fact, that was about 8 years ago. That is, in 2015, I used to go to my college to study. It was only the first year of my college. I had just been going to college for about 3 to 4 months. In those 3-4 months, some of my friends studying in college were also there. They were very good friends, but during this time, my music, which I probably shouldn't have told that girl, told me about my college. I also asked in which college I study and where I am from, what is my name, who is in my house. He asked me all these things and I kept telling him all these things. Now you must be thinking after listening to me that there is a madman who gave all his personal information to an unknown person in this way. But as you know, it must be that the age of a boy studying in the first year of a college is around 18 to 20 years. And during that time, that person is at such a stage of age where he does not have so much understanding of all these things. Rather, he gets attracted to the wrong things quickly. And at that time, something similar was happening with me. I had a different feeling about that girl, but I did not know at all that I had never thought about these feelings of mine, even in my dream. When I ask her, she tells me that I am coming to study with you in your college next year, when she told me about it. I am very shocked because till now she had taken all the information from her, but she had not yet told me anything about herself. Whenever I tried to ask her, she used to tell me that I will tell you for sure when the time comes. Then that day when she told me that I'm coming to study in your college next year. When I asked her, why are you coming to Delhi to study? She tells me that I am a resident of Delhi, and for so many days I was trying to know you, what kind of person you are. From that time on, our friendship had become even deeper. But I had no idea that whoever I was talking to as a girl from the front, what was the reality of her in the end, and I did not know anything about her truth. I was talking on the phone only as a normal girl, but I told him many times that we take each other's phone numbers and then talk on the call, but he never said yes to that thing. She used to refuse. Then slowly the days passed, and when the next session of our college started, one day suddenly a girl comes and sits in our class. In the beginning, I do not talk to her for 3-4 days, But then one day suddenly when I was at home, I get a message from that girl with Facebook that I am in your college. It's been 4 to 5 days since I came, and she told me the name of the section I used to go to study, but till now I had not recognized that girl because she came to my class 3 or 4 days ago. And when I go and ask her if you are the same girl with the fabuk, she tells me that yes, I am the same. And then there we were both able to see each other face to face for the first time. It is very important to explain in detail because such incidents happen in this way with a person who has gradually trapped a person in his trap and then makes him a victim as soon as he gets a chance. If you do not know this thing in detail, then if something like this is happening to you, then you will not be able to understand it properly. That is why I am trying to tell you in detail the role he has before coming to that scary accident. When we meet in college, we also exchange our mobile numbers with each other. But during this time when she used to come to study in my class, I noticed one thing, that she was always the last in the class. I used to sit on the bench and sit there staring at everyone in a strange way. Initially, I did not like this thing of her, but then when I asked her about it one day, she tells me that I do not like to sit with anyone. I sit alone comfortably in the back. Then when she said this, I told her about this thing. I did not put much pressure on me, and I ignore that thing, but one day when I went to college, as soon as I went to class, the teacher suddenly made all the children of all the classes stand up and scolded us a lot. They started reprimanding because the teacher said that the cleaner on the back bench has found something that is not right to bring to the college. At that time, the teacher told us that the cleaning uncle who was there, he had a burnt lemon from under that back bench, some whole chili, a little bit of blood spilled on the floor, and all this, along with all this, the severed leg of a hen has also been found lying there. Along with this, there was something done there that it seemed that someone has done some sorcery here. But you know that the children who read and write all these things, they don't believe much above. But when the teacher said that thing in class, looking at the bench he was talking about, I think that on top of it sits the same girl who became her friend from Facebook, and after that who has come to her college. By now I had also come to know her name, the name of that girl, Minu, because she herself had told me that my name is Minu. Now on the day all those things were happening in class, Minu did not come to college. And after that thing happened, she does not come to college for 3 or 4 days, nor does she pick up my phone for 3 or 4 days. Neither does she reply to any of my messages. I felt that maybe something must have happened to her. That's why she is not responding to anything of mine. Then when she does not come for 4 to 5 days in a row, then one day when I was going to college, I am late in going to college for some reason, and by the time I reach college. By that time, some other boys and girls had sat on the bench on which I used to sit. That is why now the only bench in the class on which Minu used to sit for the rest of the days was empty, and on which the bench was sitting 4 to 5 days ago. At that time, the teacher was teaching on the board, so I did not think it right to disturb everyone, and I quietly go and sit on the same bench on which all those things happened 4 or 5 days ago. But I had no idea that I have made a big mistake in my life by sitting on that bench, because maybe that day, if I had not sat on that bench, what is going to happen to me in the story would not have happened to me that day. I had been sitting on that bench for about 15 to 20 minutes. But after those 15 to 20 minutes, a strange way slowly started in my body. The sensation started running, and my hands and feet were getting as if I was going to get fever in a short time, and my eyes started watering on their own. My head was also feeling very heavy. In a short time, there is a slight pain in every part of my body, and now that pain was happening in this way. It was as if someone was pricking something on my body, because the pain would suddenly arise from any part of the body, and it would arise in such a way as if someone was on my back or waist or on my stomach or any part of the body. When that pain became so unbearable for me that I could not even sit on that bench at that time, then I get up from there and come out of the class and take a painkiller tablet from the medical store outside the college. But even after taking that painkiller tablet at that time I could not understand what had happened to me suddenly, due to which I was having this pain in my body. I was about to get a fever, then I thought it was okay to go to my house at that time. Now let me tell you that there are 4 of us living in my house. My mother and father, 1 me and 1 of my younger sister. At that time, my mother and father had gone to my grandmother's house, and my younger sister had gone to a friend's wedding. In this way, I was alone at home now, My younger sister had told me that she would come home by late night. That is why after coming from college, I eat a little bit and sleep. The head was hurting a lot. When I came from college and slept, it was almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and when I opened my eyes when I saw the time, it was 11:30 in the night. It was night on the side of the night. I slept for so long for the first time in my life. It had just been about 4 to 5 minutes since I woke up from sleep, and by that time I was sitting on my bed when suddenly the phone rings. My phone was ringing, not someone else, but my same friend, whom I was calling continuously for the last 4 to 5 days, which was neither coming to college. That is, I was getting Minu's call. As soon as I see her phone coming suddenly in this way, I immediately pick up her phone because I also want to know it very much. When I picked up her phone, before I could say anything to her, I heard her very nervous voice from the front side, and she told me, "Sandeep, my mother's health has worsened, and she may have to be taken to the hospital right now. But at this time, I am all alone at home, and my mother has no one except me. I need your help, so can you come to my house with your car?" I can come to your house, but I don't have a car at the moment because my parents have taken our car to my maternal grandparents, and they will probably come back by tomorrow evening. She hurriedly says that, "Okay, you don't take the car, but you come alone. If you stay with me, I will get some courage." Now listening to her panicked voice like this, I think that in such a situation, any person should help anyone. That is why I say yes to come to her house. But at that time, I did not know the address of her house. So I ask her the address of her house. Then she tells me that I am sending you the address of my house on the text message. You come there immediately. After saying this to me, she suddenly disconnects the phone. And as soon as I disconnect the phone, a few seconds later, his message comes in which he had given the address of his house. Right now, I was reading the address of his house on the message. Then suddenly something comes to my mind. And as soon as that thing comes to my mind, I move my hands and feet. Then at that time, I am very surprised about one thing. And that thing was this, that now there was no pain anywhere on my body. That is, now I was absolutely fine. But when I slept, I did not even have the courage to walk. Now after seeing this thing, I think that maybe I have slept for so long. So due to rest, that pain of my body has disappeared. But I had no idea at all what is the reason behind the sudden disappearance of that pain in this way. Then I sit there and try to trace the address that Minu had sent in my mobile phone on the map, and as soon as I see it, when I trace, I come to know that the distance of Minu's house is about an hour from my house. Then after that, I get up and wash my hands and mouth, and then take out my bike and leave my house for Minu's house. But before leaving the house, I had messaged my younger sister and told her all the things that in this way I have a friend, her mother's health has become very bad. So because of this, I am going there. And maybe when you come back home, I will not meet you at home. So you do not worry about me. Now I will leave my house by sending this message. And around 1 to 1:30 in the night, I reach the address on which I was called by Minu. But when I go to that address, I see that it is about 3 kilometers from the main highway. There is a colony next to a Kucha road far away. But when I take my bike to that colony, while riding the bike, suddenly my eyes go to the houses built on both sides of the road in that colony. And when my eyes go to those built houses, I see that those houses look very deserted in appearance. That is, any of them. There was not even a slight light in a single house, and in appearance, the house looked more dirty and old, as well as there was no light on any electric pole anywhere in that entire colony. The colony was completely shrouded in darkness at that time. Looking at that thing, I think that it is amazing that where did such a colony come from in the city of Delhi, where not a single light is burning at night after crossing 1 or 2 streets in that colony. Finally, the house of that number comes to the house of which I have to come to the menu. When I go out of that house and stop my bike, as soon as the bike stops, I suddenly hear some sound from inside that house, as if someone has gone inside, running from outside, because at that time I have to see someone's inside. The sound of footsteps running was heard there, but due to the darkness being too much, I do not see anything. Then after parking my bike there, I call Minu's numbers, but at that time there was no network in my mobile at all, due to which I am not able to call Minu, even if I want to. I was trying to bring the network in the mobile, but when suddenly I hear someone's voice from the top floor in that house. And as soon as I hear that voice, I look upwards. That voice is not of anyone else but of Minu. And she tells me that, "What are you doing standing there? Come inside." When she says this, I turn on the torch light of my mobile and go inside her house. When I go inside her house, when I open the main door of her house, I hear a strange sound. I understood that this voice was coming from this door itself, but after listening to that voice, it seemed as if this door has not been opened for a long time, and today I am opening this door after many days. That is why it is making such a sound. But then I think that, man, how can this happen? After all, the people living in this house must have opened this door. Now I could think of something beyond that. Then as soon as I open the door, I see my friend Minu standing in the courtyard of that house in front of me. But at that time, like outside, there is a lot of darkness inside their house. And when the light of my mobile falls on Minu's face, today for the first time I feel a little scared to see Minu's face, because at that time she had opened the hair of her head, and more than half of the hair was on her face on the front. They had come, and the rest of the hair was on the back. Then I suddenly say to Minu that, "Hey Minu, why is it so dark in your entire colony, and you have not even lit the light at your house? What is the reason for all this?" Then she tells me that, "Oh, nothing. There was an accident on that road this afternoon," due to which there was an accident. The truck that was involved in the accident had hit his truck into an electric pole, due to which the pole broke, due to which the light of this entire colony has been cut. It will be corrected only after that the light will be able to come. On saying this, I ask him that, if this is the case, then you should install an inverter at home. Such an emergency can happen at any time. Then Minu stares at me in a strange way and tells me that the people living in this house do not need an inverter. I do not understand anything about her. But then before I can ask Minu anything, or she can say anything to me, a woman's voice comes from a room, and on hearing the voice of that woman, Minu walks strangely. Today when I was watching Minu walking, for the first time I felt her movement was a bit strange. She was going towards that room without moving her hands. But till that time I was standing on top of the same door. After Minu went to that room, I turned on the light of my mobile a little in the courtyard of that house. Looking around, I saw that there are a lot of webs in the courtyard of that house, and there are a lot of small nests of pigeons in the middle of those nets. But at the same time, when I opened that door, since I went inside the house, I was getting a strange smell in his house. It was like a dead thing that had been rotting there for a long time. Right now, I was trying to understand what this smell was coming from, when suddenly I saw a smell in the courtyard of his house. I go to the corner, and I am very shocked to see the thing that I see there. And I wonder how these people are able to live in this house in the midst of all these things. If I tried to count, then those pigeons were about 30 to 35 dead pigeons, which were lying on top of each other in a corner, and maybe that smell was also coming from those dead pigeons. This time when she comes out of the room, I see her very beautiful, because now she had done the hair of her head a little better, and her face was also shining a lot in the light of that mobile. And I could see a strange smile on her face which seemed very adorable to me. That is, seeing that smile of hers, I do not have any other thoughts in my mind except hers, and I forget about those dead pigeons and also about that stench. "Come on, you are calling Mummy inside," and as soon as she says this, I follow her inside that room. When I go inside that room, I see a middle-aged woman wearing a sari on top of a wooden chair. She is sitting on that chair, and she is swinging. That is, that chair was constantly shaking back and forth. It may be that many of you have that wooden swinging chair in your house, or if you do not have that chair at home, then you must have seen that chair in a TV movie or in a serial. The wooden swinging chair that you saw was kept in that room at that time, and that woman was sitting on top of the same chair. Then as soon as I go to that room, that woman is very happy to look at me and says to me, after going to that room, I see a small sofa in one corner of that room, and I go and sit on top of it. After sitting there, I ask that lady, "What has happened to you?" Minu was telling on the phone that your health is very bad. Then from my mouth, on hearing this, the woman suddenly stops swinging from that chair and pulls out her neck towards me and tells me that I have some disease that many people have tried to cure before today, but till date, no one has been able to cure my disease. Maybe now that disease will be cured by you. So now both of us, mother and daughter, will try to get that disease cured by you. Then I laugh at that woman and say that, Auntie G, you also joke, well, after all, how can I cure someone's disease? I am a doctor. I am a little bit. Then that woman tells me that you will know in a little while how you can cure my illness. Right now, this conversation was going on between that woman and me when suddenly Minu was a big one in her hands. She brings a bowl and I see something red in that bowl. And after taking that bowl, she puts it on her mother's lips. Then that woman drinks whatever was red in that bowl. She drinks it completely. But when the woman was drinking the bowl, which was filled with red, I was looking at her in a strange way. And looking at her, I was thinking how a person can drink so much at the same time. Nor did I know at that time what that red thing was in that bowl. But at that time, maybe that girl, i.e. that Minu, had seen me staring at her mother. Then she laughed at me and said that pomegranate juice's mother's health is very bad. That is why I give her pomegranate juice. Only then I give her pomegranate juice. I say that yes, it is right. It removes weakness. I had just told him so much that then suddenly I do not know how. But at that time I had held my mobile in my hand by turning on the torch behind it. My mobile suddenly slips out of my hand and falls on the floor in that room. As soon as the mobile falls down, I suddenly bend down to lift the mobile from below. But as soon as I bend down to pick up the mobile, suddenly I feel something under the bed that was lying in that room. That is, the bed which was sleeping. It looks like I was blown away by the sight of it, and at that time I understood that I had come to a place where I should not have been at all at this time, and on seeing that thing on my body in front of me. Suddenly I sweat and my eyes are torn apart. But perhaps seeing the change that was on my face at that time, that change was also seen by that mother and daughter. And seeing that thing, she was also nervous somewhere because it was something that I probably should not have seen, and that mother-daughter also did not want it. Actually, as soon as I bent down to pick up that mobile of mine, my eyes went under that bed, and as soon as my eyes went under that bed, I see that there are human skeletons under that bed. There were about 15 to 20 skeletons, and 2 or 3 of them were fresh, that is. There was still a little bit of flesh on the bones of those skeletons, which some 2 or 4 rats were eating. Now you can imagine that in the dense darkness of the night, we are sitting alone in the house of a person whom we do not even know much, and then suddenly we see such a thing there. Then what will happen to us at that time? You can't even guess it. But as soon as the woman saw that I had seen whatever was under that bed, suddenly she had taken the bowl in her hand so that she was drinking whatever was red in that bowl. Then she suddenly left that bowl and started babbling in a strange way and starts telling her daughter that she has seen it. She has seen it. While saying this thing, she starts shaking strangely and starts telling her daughter that your hard work of so many days will be spoiled. She has seen everything here. Seeing her doing it in this way, I get even more nervous. Then the girl whose name was Minu and whom I considered my friend shouts to her mother in a strange voice and says that if you shut up, then what has happened? I will do the same thing to these people before today, and saying this to my mother. She stares at me strangely. At first she stares at me strangely, and then she smiles in such a way that the smile of hers made my pants swell. Because as soon as she brought that smile on her face, along with her smile, her face had suddenly changed completely, and now she looked very scary in appearance. I understood that today I am caught in the clutches of a very bad thing, and not only from today, but I have been suffering from it for a long time. I am trapped in the clutches of this. He has called me here by deception. After that, I start thinking that perhaps all the people whose skeletons are lying here, he must have killed them here by calling them in the same way. I could see my death in front of my eyes because at that time, I was all alone there, and I had never faced such things before. Right now, she was growling strangely at me, and her hair on her head, her eyes, her face, her hands, feet, her hands and toenails, everything was completed all of a sudden. She had changed, and now she had become a middle-aged woman like her mother in appearance. But when suddenly my eyes go to the woman sitting on the chair, I see that now on that chair, there is no woman sitting on that chair, but there is a skeleton sitting on that chair, which is completely bone. There is neither any sari nor anything else on it. Only a dried skeleton is lying on that wooden chair. Now on seeing that thing, I get even more nervous. The condition I was in at that time was so bad that I felt as if I would get a heart attack right here, due to fear, before I could do anything. The battery of my phone was completely discharged on its own, and the little light of that phone was lit also turns off, and my phone switches off right there. Now at that time I was so scared that my body was completely stiff there, due to fear, and I was not able to get up from that couch and run out of that room and out of that house. Then the girl whom I considered my friend now understood by seeing her look. It was not an ordinary thing, but it was a very scary thing. Maybe it was a spirit or a witch who has tricked me into being here. And as she was coming towards me, her look was becoming more and more scary. Now she had come so close to me that I could even feel the smell coming from her breath. Then as soon as she came to me, when I was sitting on the sofa, she suddenly grabbed one of my legs and dragged me with a jerk. Car throws down on the floor, slams down on the floor. She comes and sits on my chest and tells me that if you had not seen these skeletons today, I might not have given you such a painful death. But I was going to do it to you in one stroke. But you, seeing those skeletons, my work of the last 6 months has been wasted, because in my hard work and my penance, it was the same thing that no common person should look at these things. But after seeing them, you have again brought me back 6 months in reviving my mother. As soon as I hear all these things from his mouth, I get very scared. And now my body starts sweating so much that like a man gets wet with water while bathing. Now in the same way I am completely sweating. I was drenched, but at that time, due to fear, I was completely ghee, due to which there was no sound coming out of my circle at all. Then that spirit looking like a witch grabs one of my hands and takes the thumb of my hand towards my mouth, and as soon as I take it towards my mouth, the nail of my hand was there. She grabs it with her teeth and pulls it hard with one stroke. With that shock, the nail of my thumb is uprooted, and I feel so much pain that I cannot even tell you in words. I started screaming very loudly there due to pain, till now my body was completely numb due to fear. But as soon as she plucked my nail, a sensation ran through my whole body, and my body started shaking a little. Before she could pull out any other nail of my hand, I used all the strength of my body and gave her a push, and as soon as she pushes, she falls on top of me to the side. As soon as she falls on her side, I get up from there and try to run out of the room. But then suddenly the door of that room closes automatically, and whatever the spirit or witch was, she suddenly swoops down on my neck and her fangs on my neck, and as soon as her teeth are pricked, I am there completely in her control. And then she pricked her teeth on my neck like a fly or a mosquito and started drinking my blood. I was tearing my body and looking upwards and could not do anything. But when she was drinking my blood, at that time my body was shaking in such a way as if I was feeling a current. That is, I was getting full vibrate at that time. It seems that if she continues to drink my blood like this for a couple of minutes, I will die here, because as she was drinking my blood, I felt as if the entire energy of my body was coming out of my body. But then suddenly something happens there that I see a little hope of saving myself. Actually, at the time when she was drinking my blood from my neck, suddenly I hear the voice of my younger sister in my ears, and she was calling me loudly. I think how she got to this place, she did not know anything about it. But then I think that if I keep thinking about all these things now, I will not be able to save myself. That is why I lie there once shouting loudly, and maybe my sister heard the sound of my screaming, and she understood. But at that time, my sister was not alone there. But there were some 2 or 4 people with her. They were 2 or 4 people, and none other than her friends who had gone with her to a friend's wedding. The door of that room opens from the outside and my sister comes in. When she comes in, she has seen that the woman who looks like a witch is sucking my blood by putting her teeth on my neck. Then my sister does not know where the strength comes from, that she comes and gives a push to that witch and the friends who were with her. 2 of them were also boys, and they were very hot in appearance. That is why they picked me up from there as soon as they fell on the side of that witch, and they ran very fast and took me out of that house. And then after that, the car they had with me in that car. But then suddenly the witch grabbed the hair of my sister's head and completely controlled it. But at that time, I was not in a condition that I could do anything to save my sister. But my sister had 2 friends. That is, one of the 2 boys who picked me up and brought me in the car. He was a devotee, And he was also wearing Hanumanji's locket around his neck, and he was also very stubborn in appearance. That is why he goes towards the witch, who was grabbing at a very fast speed and grabbing the hair of his head and loudly pushing his head into the wall. He keeps doing this 3 or 4 times continuously and asks my sister to run out of there. But when he was hitting the head of that witch in the wall, then the house suddenly starts shaking and the roof of that house starts falling on its own from above. And all this was happening due to his demonic power, but due to the locket of Hanumanji around the neck of that boy, she was not able to do anything about it. Then the boy sees the opportunity and comes out of there and suddenly sits in the car, and from there. But as soon as our car came out about 10 to 15 meters away from that house, then we hear a very loud explosion from behind. And when we look back at the moving vehicle, we see that the whole house has collapsed on its own. And from there we have a lot of fire. A loud sound is heard, but at that time I tell my sister that my bike was parked there. I do not know what would have happened. Then my sister tells me that it is necessary to save you now. The bike will come even more. After that, my sister first told me. She takes me to the hospital and then gets me treated in the hospital and immediately takes me to a temple. But at that time, the priest of the temple was asleep. But all those people somehow plead and pick up the priest and tell him the whole thing. Then that priest at that time gives me some babu of the temple and tells me that you come to the temple in the morning with you. Then we go back to that temple in the morning and the priest treats me. And along with the treatment, he tells me that you are saved from a very terrible and demonic power. He tells me that she was not a living girl, nor was her mother with her, but both of them had died a long time ago. But her mother had died before that girl. But the girl who was there loved her mother very much. That is why she talked about her mother's death. She did not tell anyone outside her house, and she used to try to bring her mother back to life by keeping her dead body in the same room, because she had seen or read this thing somewhere, that a dead person was killed by black magic. It can also be made alive. For this reason, she wanted to bring her back to life by doing black magic for her dead mother. But black magic is such a thing that if her tantra is not done properly, then it dominates the person doing it. And something similar happened with that girl in the affair of that black magic and her. That girl had also died in the process of bringing her mother back to life. But even after death, the soul of that girl was doing all this to bring her mother back to life. You saw the skeletons of those dead people lying under the bed in that room. But after that, I asked my sister, how did she know that I was trapped in the clutches of that soul there? She had gone to her friend's wedding, so when I asked my sister about this, she tells me that when we were returning from that wedding, then on the road we saw you going somewhere. And I recognized your bike, that you are the only one on that bike who is going somewhere. But seeing you going somewhere so late at night, I was very much worried about you. Till that time, my mobile phone was also switched off due to the discharge of the battery. That is why I could not read the message you sent to me. But at that time, I tell my friends that maybe my brother is definitely in some trouble. That's why he is going somewhere so late at night, and my parents are also home. But if not, then after that, we followed you in our car to that colony. Now we had followed you to that colony. But in the streets of that colony, we do not know that you disappeared from our eyes. And after that, we tried to find you in almost every street. We were passing through there when suddenly I saw your bike parked outside that house. That's why we stopped outside that house again. At that time, I was calling you. Then suddenly I heard the sound of your screaming, and as soon as I heard the sound of screaming, I understood that you must be in some trouble. And then after that, we came in there. And you know what happened next. So friends, how did you like today's story? Please tell it by commenting. And if you are not associated with this channel, then subscribe now and join this channel. I will meet your friends soon with another heart-rending story. Thank you.